I'm a magical person. I believe in magic. I believe in the unseen. But for me, I do love to take a scientific approach to things and understand spiritual things in a scientific way. I think that just helps it to be more concrete for a lot of people. I realize that. So that's why I wanted to provide my these guideposts, so to speak, in a way that can help a person moving from their believing into the knowing. Like, again, yes, I believe in all of these supernatural or spiritual things that are unseen. But a lot of what is unseen can be explained in a way that is scientific. We'll use oxygen, for example. Like, I can't see the air that I breathe unless it's wintertime. But for the most part, I can't see the air that I breathe. And I breathe every waking moment of my life, even when I'm not aware that I'm breathing. I'm breathing and I can't see these gases. I can't see the oxygen. I can't see the carbon dioxide that I breathe out. I can't see it. But when it explained to me and I learn it in a scientific form, then my believing in it becomes a knowing. And that really is how magic is in a lot of ways. It can be explained in a way that can shift your believing into knowing. And when you are operating in a knowing, that just takes your manifestation to a whole nother level. Like, believing in things is one thing, and we can experience lots of manifestations in our believing. But I think that the way that we start to experience our manifestations drastically is altered when we are experiencing those manifestations in a state of knowing. So I like to provide the guideposts, the things that helped me along my journey and continue to help me along my journey. I like to provide how I became into the state of knowing with a lot of magical, quote unquote, magical things. Now, don't get me wrong, there are things that are not explainable that we don't necessarily have a knowing about, and we rely on our intuition, we rely on our spirit and our soul and our belief and faith in things. But a whole lot of things, we really can get into the knowing of it. And that even takes our things that we believe in and our intuitions to a whole nother level. And again, each level sends you into a whole nother state of experiencing those manifestations in a way that is more profound in life. So it is my goal to simply share the things that I gravitated towards in my physical healing and my spiritual healing and my mental healing and my evolution in life, and just going along my journey and experiencing change along the way, because that is my goal. I don't want to come from one destination in my journey, travel all of this distance and go to a whole nother place or destination in that journey, and I'm in that new place, and now I'm going to go to a whole nother new place and I'm unchanged. Like, the whole goal is to change, to metamorph into something different. And that's the beauty about this journey, what makes it so exciting, and looking forward to that, because I look forward to each destination in the journey. There's so many destinations. People kind of limit themselves, in my opinion, when they have the mentality of, I have to reach this goal, I have to get to this destination in life, and then I'm going to be happy. It's so many destinations along the journey, and we have to realize that there's not this one final destination. We don't want the final destination. If you ever watch that movie, then that's not what we aspire to experience. There are multiple destinations, which I like to think of as multiple universes within a universe, in my own personal universe. I am going through all of these destinations along the journey. And, you know, if you do it real good, then you get a nice wardrobe change, another face of a new makeup, another beat on your face. You know, you get a whole new wardrobe, you get a whole new wig, you get all of this, you get a new car, you just get a whole nother alteration in your identity, even your physical identity, your spiritual, your mental identity, as we travel to these various destinations along the journey. And that's what I aspire to do, and that's what I've been doing along the way. As I look back, even when I look at physical photos of myself at different points in my journey in the past, I can, looking at the present, being the present me, looking at that, I'm just like, wow, I legit was a whole different person in a whole different set of circumstances with a whole different mindset. I even looked different. I dressed different. Everything was different about my physical makeup. Everything was different about my mental makeup, my emotional, everything was different just on all levels of myself. And it's inspiring in my believing, but also in my knowing, because I can look back at tangible things that remind me of the unseen parts of me during different stages and destinations that I had arrived in my life, and just witness the change, the positive change, the growth, the evolution. And I think that's what we all should experience with awareness in our lives. Sometimes people evolve and they don't really know, they don't have an awareness, so to speak. They're just kind of like going through, and that's good. You're evolving. But some people are just going through life and there's not much evolution. There's not much change and destination. Like, we just kind of find a spot in life and we just sit there. No judgment. If that's what makes you happy in life, then I'm all for that. But if you feel like, I wish I were happier, or, I don't necessarily like this space in life, but, it'll do. I would hope, and I encourage you to trust the process and walk further along the path and see where it takes you, and see what the next destination looks like and what that feels like and how that is for you. And just continue to move, because the road is endless. The road is absolutely endless. We have to look at life as the interstate system out there, as all of the roads and the trails and all of these places and landmarks in life, as above, so below. And what that means is look at life from what you can see with your physical eyes. And there are so many roads. There are so many different ways to get to a place that you might want to get to. For example, you want to go to this particular museum and witness the beautiful art in this museum and all that this art does for you. Well, you can take the interstate to get there. You could take the city streets to get there. You could take some back roads to get there. You can go, take a straight shot and get there, or you can go take this very roundabout way that shows you a scenic environment to get there. There are lots of ways to get there that take different length of time, that are different experiences. We have to look at life in that way. Just like we get to our physical destinations in life, it's just the same way with this mental and emotional and spiritual journey. There are different routes that we can take, and that's the beauty of it. That's the point of it. There are routes to take, and we should take these routes so that we can get to these various destinations that we desire to go to in life, so that we can have all these different experiences. Some are are local, some are regional, some are national, some are international, and we aspire to travel in different ways. For some of us, I'm fine just traveling my state and seeing different things, or just traveling my city and seeing different things, or just being at home, whatever the case. But then there are those who, I've traveled some places in my city. I'd love to get outside of my city. I'd love to get outside of my state. I'd love to go to various states within my country. You know what? I'd love to use my passport and go to some different countries and see things that are worlds apart, worlds different from what I know in my life, and expand my knowing and my experience. I feel like for somebody who, like me, who has lived in Arkansas my whole life, I've seen different things. I've traveled to different states. I've seen a couple oceans, and I aspire to see monuments from thousands of years ago from other countries. I feel like that physically, the below, as above so below, the below being the physical realm, it would be huge to go to Thailand, or to go to Rome, or to go to these places where there have been societies and cultures that are thousands of years old, and witness that grandeur. To do that in the below, in the physical, is the same as doing it in the above, in the spiritual. Like, we want to go to different levels. I know what level I've experienced on a spiritual realm in my life. I want to take it to higher realms, and match it in the physical as well. We can go to higher realms and never travel outside of our home. But I would love to mix that with matching it with the physical and go to different places. I don't know how we got to that, but yeah, it's all about going in taking different destinations along the journey in life.